Hello, world. I'm glad you could join me today. This is Greg Gates, and I am going to share with you this project. This is Doy Doy. I'm just going to break it down so that we can see what are the parts, what's it made out of, how does everything come together. So I guess I'm just going to start from the top and work my way down. If you're unfamiliar with this tune, it is the first track on my album Dusty Grooves and Golden Hues that I just released a couple weeks ago, and it's just now on YouTube Music. So I think that's where most people are listening to music these days, or at least that's where I'm listening to music. But it's on just about everything. It's on Pandora, iTunes, Spotify. The only thing it's not on yet is a CD or an actual vinyl record. I don't know if enough people listen to it and it makes sense. Maybe I'll eventually make a CD or a record or something that you could have a physical copy. The closest you can get right now is on the Apple Music Store. I think you paid $10 and you could download the whole album. If you actually did that, then that would be supporting me, and I appreciate that. So enough with all that. Let's see what all these tracks are. So up here, let me just introduce the program. This is called Reaper. It's a digital audio workstation, or DAW for short, DAW. And I really enjoy Reaper. It's got a free trial version if you just want to try it out. When the trial is over, after 60 days, it doesn't cripple the program. Like, it still works. And it just has a pop-up that encourages you gently to purchase a license. Let's start with the first track here. This is text, actually, and I didn't actually, this is just placeholder text. Normally, when I'm working on some music, I like to put some chords so I know what chords are going on when. So instead of saying a thing, it might be a minor. But I didn't do that on this piece. I didn't really feel like it was necessary. All right, so the first instrument we have here is the flute. And the flute that I use for this, let me just solo it so you can hear. What you're listening to is this flute right here. It is made out of wood. I got it from my uncle's father-in-law, who I've never actually met, but my uncle gave me a bunch of his flutes, and I really, really, really appreciate that. So if you're watching this, Uncle Michael, thank you for all these flutes. I just played with the beat and whatever I felt like was cool. And then for effects, low pass filter right here. It's just a really basic low pass filter. We got some reverb and we have some compression. I have compression on just about every track. Do you see how that sounds different from this other flute? That one's more kind of in your face, right? So yeah, it kind of goes back and forth between this faraway flute. Yeah, if you have headphones on like I do, you can hear the pan from right to left throughout this whole phrase. Okay, so that's the flute stuff. I think one of my favorites is this last little one right here. Let's go on to the trumpet tracks. If we look at this over here. You can hear some pretty cool effects on that, right? There's reverb. There's a filter, high pass, low pass. There's a compressor. There's ensemble. This one is super cool. It's just kind of it moves the voices around. It has 3 copies of itself. This is really the main, without it, it doesn't. Now we add that ensemble. And I do have some gentle pitch correction. I'm not really sure how much of an effect that has. If I take that off, it still probably sounds decent. Yeah, and that ensemble is actually it's detuned a little bit. So I have the pitch correction before the detuning. That's important because if you have the pitch correction after the detuning, the detune wouldn't really wouldn't have the same effect, would it? Okay, so there's some other trumpet tracks besides that funky effects. Like this is just the standard, just a high pass trumpet. It's the same exact sample. I just took that one recording bit and I copied and copied and copied and copied, and then I put that together with the sax. The trumpet's actually in the sax channel. Oops. The saxophone, you can hear, do you hear a little bit of like clanky sound? Yeah, that clanky sound, like towards the end. That clanky sound is the clank of the keys. I'm using my old Bundy 2, the first instrument that I ever owned. It's the instrument that I learned how to play music on in 4th grade. I'm still using that same saxophone. If I do make some money making music, one of the first things on my list of things to upgrade would be a new saxophone. Let's see what else we got here. We got, oh my gosh. Yeah, that's a jam, right? So that was basically what I started out with. Blank slate. There's nothing on the page yet. You imagine, like, I kind of like think of this like an artist, like I would imagine that an artist imagines. If you want to draw something, you visualize what it is you want to draw on the page, and then you just kind of trace what you visualized. When I'm writing music, it's kind of the same way. Like, I want to make a tune, what I want it to feel like, and then I just kind of like imagine, like I want it to have a beat that's kind of like this. And if I want to like keep track of that, then I'll record it, and this is what it would kind of, you know. You know, so and that's actually where the title of the tune came from, Hoy Doy Doy, because I think I heard like a oy doy doy, like a Spanish HOY, like oy doy doy. So I kind of have this like in the background here. It fades in. I think I had it fade out to. You can kind of hear it. Now you really hear it, because the rest of the texture kind of fades out. Yeah. Okay. So that's the vocal thing. String thing. You can really hear this filter. Yeah, when it all gets put together, it's it kind of helps it like stand out of the texture a little bit. Moving on. Let's listen to hands. What do hands sound like? So for this, I was taking my hands like this, put them together, and I just made this sound. That's all I did. All right, here's the bass. This is synth bass. I do have a real bass behind me, but I liked the sound of this bass. One thing that I'm a fan of if you're producing music is saturation on a bass. It really makes it makes it so you can hear the bass even like through like a phone speaker or, you know, some device that isn't necessarily like super quality audio. All right, next, cello pizz double. So the cello is pizzicatoing the bass line. Here's a funky, different bass. So you can hear all that kind of like interacts with each other if I just have them all soloed here. So you change from this texture to that texture. Like the volume of this bass is turned down to negative infinity. And we get this cool synth bass. Cello goes away. And then back to our other bass. All right, what's a bell thing? It's kind of just like an interesting little sound. And then over here we have some cellos playing fifths. I do have some phase distortion on these cellos, as you can see, like when I hover over it. Okay. Next, this is a cymbal. These are drumsticks. Click, click. Yeah, I like that groove with the backbeat right there. Yeah, that's great. Okay, next we have a shaker. So basically I have this little egg shaker right here. It says Colorado Symphony, actually. Colorado Symphony egg shaker. I chopped it up just so that I can sample it and control it with the keyboard. Makes everything so much easier. And when you apply that to a sampler, that's kind of like the ostinato I have with the shaker. It's actually MIDI data, see? I programmed the shaker to shake in the way that I want it to with MIDI data. But I sampled that shaker myself with the Colorado Symphony shaker. Next, we have the drums. Let's solo some drums. Yeah. If you're wondering why there's like 2 tracks for each kind of instrument, is because in general, like when you have this MIDI data, it's not as good to work with as like waveforms. So like I'll go through and I'll program all the MIDI data and then render that track to stereo stem tracks. So that way it turns into this wave stuff and then you just mute the original MIDI. It's just easier to work with. It's easier to do effects and it's more consistent because the MIDI instruments can sometimes like surprise you with really weird inconsistencies. What's next? Tabla. It's this is a DSK instrument, kind of like that string instrument from earlier. I use those DSK like Indian instruments throughout this album just to kind of like give it that like desert feel. Just a couple notes right there. That's like part of the intro into that next phrase right there. Yeah, and you kind of hear that, like I'm trying to match what I was saying. They're crescendo together. Yeah, so that's kind of like what I'm trying to copy there. What's next? Noise. So this is constantly going on in the background. It's kind of sizzly sounding. When I was first producing this album, just about every track had excessive background fuzz, sizzle, record player noise, wind, like whatever ambient sounds. I turned it way down when I went through and remastered everything because it kind of detracts from the music, actually. I eventually ended up turning down all of any kind of like noise because it was just too distracting. It wasn't giving the chill vibes that I wanted. I had to find those vibes elsewhere. Well, that's it. That's the whole breakdown, the whole session. So now next time you listen to it, maybe you'll hear some things that you didn't hear before. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you haven't already, please check out my album, Dusty Grooves and Golden Hues. I'll have a link in the description below. Bye.